Hello everyone, so we just had a brand new season of Marvel Snap start, and with that comes two brand new cards in Kate Bishop and Marvel Boy. The one that I'm more interested in playing around with and brewing around with first is Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop is a Hawkeye that you probably actually want to play. So she's a 2-cost, 3-power that when played, she generates 2 of 4 possible arrows in your hand, whether it be an acid arrow, which is kind of like a miniaturized Green Goblin, huge, as a junk enjoyer, huge. We have one that is equivalent of an Ant-Man, which is the Pym arrow. We have a grapple arrow, which is kind of cool, especially with some sneaky play lines to be able to play a card and then rip it out of that location. Or maybe you're just using it in move instead. And then we also have just the good old-fashioned Hawkeye, which is a 1-cost, 1-power with the ability that it gets +3 if something is played there the following turn. And so overall, she creates some kind of cool play lines. Marvel Boy, I want to experiment with later, but for today's video, I started the day off thinking that I was going to use her in like a Black Swan bounce or some kind of like Bishop Collector hybrid, or maybe even a werewolf build. And she ended up feeling clunky in every single one. Like it felt like she was being a detriment in most games, especially if I had things like Falcon or Beast. It made the hand very congested very quick, and it was just really tough to navigate with those additional arrows and make sure that you were getting good upside out of them. And so that is where we pivoted and switched to the good old-fashioned TLSG comfort list, and that is Clutter. This one goes a little bit heavier onto full all-in Clutter components, and that is using everything that we have in our arsenal to clutter the opponent. So we have the Titania, the White Widow, we have Green Goblin, we have Debris, we have Viper, we have Hobgoblin, and now the addition of Hawkeye or Kate Bishop that can potentially give us an acid arrow to clog one additional space. We can take up a lot of their board very, very quickly. And the reason that this is going to do really well today is that it's a surprise list. With the Doc Ock change, junk has really kind of dropped off. It is non-existent. And so when something is non-existent, but it still puts out a reasonable amount of power, or it's really oppressive, that leaves you room for a lot of opportunity to gain some big cubes, because the opponent's not going to be, 1, anticipating your play lines, and 2, they're not going to have counter play built in specifically to counter your clutter stuff, like the Jeff, Nocturne, Kitty Pryde. That is dropped off with the rise of Sandman, and so with Athena, Angela dropping off, Clutter can come back in full swing. And so we went on an absolute insane run with this list. There are some bot matches mixed in, so take this with a grain of salt, but 16-1. I don't think I've ever had that on my run up to Infinite on the start of a day, because I think maybe 4 or 5 of those were bots. The rest were humans, and we were able to beat almost every single one. We gained 55 cubes in a short amount of time. We are going to go ahead and jump over into a couple of games. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. Kate Bishop in this list feels solid. Sometimes she's just going to be a role player where she's there. Other times she's going to give you some really good resources to help fill out the rest of your board and make sure you have those ways to compete. I also forgot to mention, we dropped the Red Hulk. We dropped the Shang-Chi in this one, since we're looking to negatively afflict them with things like Hobgoblin, Green Goblin, and just completely cap out their lanes. From there, the biggest way to win is winning an additional lane, whether it be an Goliath to stop their own reveals, or a Cannonball to push one of their big plays out of that location. Then you fill it up with a Titania as well, or a Pym arrow, or something of high value, and all of a sudden you're pushing a lot of power to that lane that they probably weren't expecting. We're going to go ahead and jump over into the games. Thank you guys as always for being here. I hope you guys enjoy. Either by the Goliath, or we can go something like Cannonball, which is going to be great as well, because they're not going to have anywhere to go. The Cannonball is going to leave a rock in its place, the Ant-Man, and then the Titania, and that's what we're going to lock in. See if they stick it out. They do. They do, unfortunately, stick it out. The Cannonball, we have the Goliath line as well, so we weren't locked into having to go with this line, but they do end up sticking it out. We get the 4 cubes, and we will go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Skull Zero. The first location is Grand Central, and so we're going to go ahead and skip here. We have our Debris, we have a Viper, which is great, especially if they flood a lot of stuff early. And this is an Arisham deck, and so it is pretty likely that they flood quite a bit onto the board. They did, unfortunately, just draw Copycat, so they stole one of our cards. I don't know which one. There was a 2 out of 7 chance that they stole one of our negative goblins and it would send our way, which is, I think, kind of interesting. We have magic that we could do. We also have debris that we could go ahead and play. Maybe we debris over to the left, because they're going to play into the Abbey this turn so that they get the additional cards. No, okay. Copycat ended up being, I'm guessing, one of the goblins. Let's see which goblin. Green Goblin, okay. And so we know that Green Goblin is now out of the mix, out of the running, unfortunately for us. But we did give them the ability to draw the additional card in the Abbey. It's also a little bit unfortunate, but I think it's fine. Let's go Doc Ock into mid. We're going to pull their lowest power card, which is decent utility. MODOK comes down into the right, which is awesome for them that there is the nowhere location. But we'll see. We pull into Loki. Loki at that. Unfortunate. Loki not very happy about it. We can do magic into White Widow.
Opponent snapped.
If they have a goblin, they can send it here, which is really, really unfortunate for us. So maybe we go magic into Kate Bishop and see what kind of arrows we get. I'm going to go magic White Widow to the left and see. Because I'm thinking we see like a hobgoblin in mid. I'm thinking that's where the snap came from. And so I'm cautious of playing into that location, even with one card. And so the White Widow comes in. The Limbo is now in effect over here. Spider-Woman comes down. And so they are locked into that left lane, which is great for us. We do get a hobgoblin. So do they ever play 2 cards into Limbo? Would it be safer to do something like Viper plus Hawkeye here? We could always try for, like, I guess an Alioth. We could go Cannonball. Hobgoblin becomes kind of risky because there is a chance that they play multiple cards. Let's go with this. The Viper in the left, the Hawkeye, and so I'm hoping... Oh, that is a big Alioth. Unfortunate. To the Green Goblin as well. Wait, that is not unfortunate. The Viper overpowers what they have with that Green Goblin that's stuck, which is great for us. We get the Pim arrow, the grapple arrow, or we could just do the good old-fashioned Alioth. We could do the good old-fashioned Cannonball, which is going to push a card from here out, and so they lose 8 power, going down to just 7. So I'm thinking we do something like Pim arrow, grapple arrow, and then we call it good. We let them snap. We're not going to snap back, but we have the really big utility tool in our Cannonball, and they're going to be stuck in place, and they do end up forcing the retreat. We will take the 2. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Psalm. The first location is the sewer system, so something like Hood is great. We have our Viper to go ahead and send it over as well. But on turn 2, we're going to go Hawkeye or Kate Bishop. I mean, I don't know that anyone else is going to ever run the 1-cost Hawkeye, but we're going to go Kate Bishop, see if we get maybe an Acid Arrow. That'd be perfect. They do have Nebula, which is really big for them. We do get the Acid Arrow, which is huge. That gives us another Clutter component. And then we lose our Alioth. They lose their Gwynpool, which is so unfortunately massive for us. Let's go Green Goblin to the left. Next turn is something like Acid Arrow plus Viper. We could also go ahead and push it to the right, knowing that they're likely to play into Sokovia. We do have our Cannonball, which is great for the miniaturized lab. We'll only have 1 turn to play it there. So maybe we go... I'm going to go ahead and go Green Goblin right. I know that they're going to be playing most of their cards over there, and so that is what I want to focus on. They have Loki, which is low-key kind of unfortunate for us because now we don't know what is possible from the opponent. We can go Acid Arrow, Magic. I want to leave the sewer system in the left lane because that's a super unfortunate location for them to play in. And as long as they don't cap us out in any of our lanes, then we have a really big benefit. And so they play 1 card in the right. Could be Goblin. No, it's Jeff. Good old Jeff, the flexible land shark. And they're not capped out there because they can move the Jeff around. But they're very, very close. They can only play 1 card. They could move it and then do a Viper, which ends up being pretty big. Let's go Basic Arrow plus Viper here. And maybe we go ahead and play Demon over to the right. we have the Titania for the last turn to use alongside our Cannonball. And so next turn, whatever we draw, we play something into that left lane. So Doc Ock pulls in our Titania, which is actually fine because they played 2 cards there, and I would not have expected them to play 2 cards. Oh, it's not fine. Yes, no, it's fine because they played 2 cards. The basic arrow is going to call Titania back. Our Viper is going to send the hood over and shoot Titania back one more time. Super unfortunate for them. They're running out of space very, very quickly here. I think we let the basic arrow. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Prince JoJo. The first location is Hollis. We're going to avoid that one for now. We have both of our goblins. We have Titania and Doc Ock. If the opponent is so inclined to run their Doc Ock, super unfortunate for them, because that's going to pull our Hobgoblin, which would make me chuckle so intensely. Onslaught Citadel to the right. We don't have any ongoings unless we get Kate Bishop and like a Pim Arrow, but that's going to be really about it. Maybe the Widow's Kiss from White Widow. They go Hope Summers into Asgard. We do start cluttering it up just a touch. And then we could go Hood plus Viper. I know that we could go Doc Ock as well. But I would almost rather go Hood Viper here. They snapped into it, which is a little bit unfortunate. It's a little concerning. But I'm still going to lock in the Hood Viper, see what we can do. They go Gwynpool, and they are going to be locked into that middle lane. I'm thinking that they may be running... I got cooked by a 15-power Galactus. It was a Wong into a Gwynpool into a 15-power Galactus, believe it or not. And so I did get cooked by one of those. I have to be on the lookout for it. So because of that, I think we go something like... Hobgoblin to the right. We have initiative. We've already got the win in mid. Something like Hobgoblin here is huge. And if they do have Galactus and they play it this turn, we have the Cannonball into Titania, which could be massive for us. I almost want to snap back, but I'm just going to let this one. Nah, you know what? We're going to snap back. Because if it is Galactus, which probably... it's probably just PTSD. It's very rarely ran. But if it was, then they're in a super unfortunate spot. They do go with 1 card over to the right. The Nova into Forge into... So this is a Silver Surfer deck. Interesting. So we have to be careful here. Because a Killmonger clears this, brings them up by 6 up to 10. Killmonger plus Surfer brings them up to 12, 13, 14. And we didn't go Magic, unfortunately. But we don't have to worry about Killmonger because we do have the Alioth. So never mind. Count our lucky blessings. Killmonger, Surfer, doesn't matter what they have. The Alioth is going to say, absolutely not. The double drop, the big Alioth coming in for the 8 cubes. And it is the Shah, the Surfer, brings them up to 2, but it is not enough to bring home that middle lane. We will grab the 8. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Mystery. The first location is the cloning vats. We could clone our Hood into cloning our Viper. Not certain that that's the perfect way to play this, but I'm going to tentatively do it at least. Our Viper does get hit by Iceman. Super unfortunate. We'll see. And so we get a copy of the Hood. We have the Demon. Whatever we draw this turn in Gamma Lab, which is actually decent for us. We can play both Hood and Demon. We generate another Demon, take a little bit of pressure off of our hand. And as long as they don't have a Shang-Chi, or they'll have to push and position Shang-Chi into that Gamma Lab location eventually to be able to win. So Iceman comes down again, hits our Cannonball. Super unfortunate, super disruptive, but it is what it is. We get the second Demon, and right now we're matching them toe for toe in this lane. Let's see if it's something that we want to continue pressuring. We have Magic. Interesting. We could Magic and rip this one away because I feel like they're going to cap it out, right? They cap out this location, expecting a lot of Hulks, and our Magic is going to say no. Oh, they go just one card. Oh, they do cap it out with the Brood. So a little bit Brood of us to ruin their day, but these are not going to turn into Hulks. They are now locked into 11 power. I'm not sure what the Brood is doing with an Ant-Man and Iceman, honestly. But I respect it. We can go Viper into the left lane. That will create a copy, but since it is increased cost, it's not perfect, but we will start congesting them quite a bit over here. And then all we have to do is be able to beat 6 power in this lane, which is not awful. The Demon, we could go Cannonball, we could go Eliath, we could go Doc Ock. There's a lot of ways that we can position our cards. So the Patriot, the Ant-Man and Iceman in a Patriot build is confusing me. But they do play one card to the left, and so it gets pretty congested pretty quick. I almost want to go Hobgoblin to the right, because if I was them, I would have played in the left lane. Wait, why did they go Sandman? Limbo is active. Mr. E is, I feel like Mr. E is fumbling a bit here. So 6 going into 7. We can only play one card. Do we make that one card Viper? No, I'd rather make it White Widow here. Depending on where they play. We can also make it Cannonball. That opens up the door for Eliath mid, Titania left. Or if they play over here, then they're capped out anyways. I kind of like their Cannonball to the right. All right, so they do play into Wakanda. We cap them out with the Sandman over to the left. The Ultron comes down. Not going to do a whole lot for him, but that's perfectly fine. So we have the Titania into the Eliath. If they have, what, a Khazar, that brings another 1-2 over here. Up to 9. We go up to 10. And then it brings another 1-2. It brings them to 15. We tie at 15. And so the Khazar would come down to a point differential, which we may be able to win. We're going to go Eliath mid. We're going to go Titania left. We could also do... Wait, no, we don't have initiative. Let's go Eliath mid, Titania left, and that's what we're going to lock in. And they do stick it out. Oh, the blue Marvel is marvelous for them. Wait. Oh, no. Sometimes sheer dumb luck. Had they just not played Scarlet Witch, they would have been fine. Super unfortunate. Scarlet Witch just stabbed him in the back. We'll take the 4. We don't deserve the 4, but we are going to take it. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Jimmy Dinkins. The first location is the Dark Dimension, so we're going to go ahead and skip on 1 into getting an eye or a feel for what they're running. So maybe not the best thing for us to be running a Clutter deck, because I think they'll have some bounce components built in. Let's go ahead and go with our Kate Bishop, and then we'll see from there. Unfortunately, the Rocket Raccoon does hit. I'm thinking that they probably have a Falcon, a Beast. If they have Beast, but not Falcon, maybe we can sneak in like an Acid Arrow. We'll see. So Sage comes into our hand. We have Debris that we can use this turn. Let's go ahead and go Debris. We'll see if they play or if they cap out this location. They played a 3 cost or lower in the left, so could have been maybe Hazmat. We now have our Green Goblin and Titania and Acid Arrow. And so I kind of like the idea of like doing like a Pim Arrow, a Sage. Next turn on 5, we can full send and cap out that right lane from scratch. Or almost cap it out. If they play anything here, we would cap it out. We're going to send them 3 cards on turn number 5 in a lane that they're not going to be anticipating. I can almost guarantee it. They do have Beast. They pull in the Bast, the Rocket, and something else. The White Widow comes in, so we're not going to be able to send them 3, unfortunately. The max we can do is now 2. But we could do something like... Maybe we do something like Hobgoblin? So I like Titania into Green Goblin, Acid Arrow to the right, or Acid Arrow mid, Titania, Green Goblin right. I'd rather have a better chance of full capping the the right lane than playing anything to the left. So the cannonball pushes our Kate Bishop over to the left. A little unfortunate as it may be, but our Acid Arrow goes over to the left, or in mid. Our Green Goblin and Titania go over into Weird World, and so then it comes down to what they have going to that final turn. So if it's an Goliath over here, super, super unfortunate. Otherwise, we might be okay. Something like Nico into Marvel Boy mid, or we could even go Nico, Marvel Boy mid, Hood, because that's going to set them to 0. That gives us an extra 5 and then the -3, but also +3. And so it's going to set us at 5. They're going to be down to 0, and that gives us maybe more of a chance to position some power here. I'm afraid of the Goliath. Otherwise, our Sage could do some incredible things hidden in that left lane. I'm going to stick it out. Let's see what they end up having as that last turn. They do go with one of our cards in the left lane, so they played 2, so very unlikely that it's Goliath, but we'll see. So right now, they had initiative going to the last turn, so they should reveal first. The Hit Monkey is big, it's beautiful. The Rocket is big, it's beautiful. The Viper, but we have the Pim Arrow, we have the big Sage, which is going to be just enough to overcome that left lane. They can have the middle lane, we will take the right and the left, and we will grab the 4.